Hi everyone, welcome to One Stop Mathematical Solution. Today we are going to solve CSI and NET Mathematics December 2012 question paper. In this video we have only dealt with the linear algebra part. First question, question 27. Let n be a positive integer and let Mn of R denote the set of all and cross and real matrices. If T from Mn of R to Mn of R is a linear transformation such that T of A is equal to 0 whenever A belongs to Mn of R is symmetric or skew symmetric, then the rank of T is. So we have given a linear transformation such that T of A is 0 whenever A is symmetric or skew symmetric. Then we have to find the rank of this transformation. So we look into the concepts used. So every square matrix can be written as a sum of symmetric and skew symmetric matrix. That is, if A belongs to Mn of R, then M is equal to A plus A transpose divided by 2 plus A minus A transpose divided by 2, where A plus A transpose divided by 2 is a symmetric matrix and A minus A transpose by 2 is the skew symmetric matrix. If T from U to V is a linear transformation, then kernel of T is equal to set of all U in U such that T of U is equal to 0 in V. That is identity element in V. And the dimension of kernel of T is called the nullity of the transformation. Rank nullity theorem states that dimension of U is equal to rank of T plus nullity of T. Note the dimension of Mn of R is equal to n square. So now we'll move on to the question. So we have given that T of A is equal to 0 whenever A belongs to Mn of R is symmetric or skew symmetric. We know that when A belongs to Mn of R, then A can be written as sum of symmetric and skew symmetric matrix. That is, A is equal to A plus A transpose divided by 2 plus A minus A transpose divided by 2. So I am applying T on both sides. So we'll get T of A is equal to T of A plus A transpose by 2 plus A minus A transpose by 2. T is a linear transformation, so this can be written as equal to T of A plus A transpose by 2 plus T of A minus A transpose by 2. We know T of A is equal to 0 whenever A is symmetric or skew symmetric. This is symmetric matrix, so this is mapped to 0, and this is skew symmetric, this is also mapped to 0. Therefore, T of A is equal to 0. Now we have kernel of T is equal to set of all A in Mn of R such that T of A is equal to 0. But we have all the matrices mapped to the 0 element. Therefore, kernel of T is equal to Mn of R. Therefore, nullity of T is the dimension of kernel of T, that is dimension of Mn of R, that is equal to n square. Also, by rank nullity theorem, dimension of Mn of R is equal to rank T plus nullity of T, and dimension of Mn of R is equal to n square, and nullity of T we got it as n square. Therefore, rank of T is equal to 0. So now we'll check the correct option. So the correct option is 4th one. Next question, question 28. Let S from R cube to R4 and T from R4 to R3 be a linear transformation such that T composite S is the identity map of R cube. Then, so we are given two linear transformations such that T composite S is the identity map. Then we have to check which of the following states the properties of S composite T. So we'll look into the concepts used. F from R to R is an identity map if f of V is equal to V for every V in R. F from x to y is 1 function if x not equal to y implies f of x not equal to f of y. Equivalently, we can say f of x equal to f of y should imply x equal to y if f is 1 function. F is an onto function if every element y in y have an pre-image x in x such that f of x equal to y. So now we'll move on to the question. So I am defining the linear transformation S and T such that it defines T composite S as the identity map. So this is done by trial and error method. So if I take let S from R cube to R4 by S of x y z is equal to x y z 0 and T from R4 to R3 by T of x y z w equal to x y z. Then T composite S is a mapping from R3 to R3. we'll look whether it is giving an identity map or not. So T composite S of XYZ is equal to T of S of XYZ. We know S of XYZ is equal to XYZ0. So we'll replace that by this. So this is equal to T of XYZ0. T maps a 4 tuple to its 3 tuple. So this is equal to XYZ. That is T composite S of XYZ is equal to XYZ. That is T composite S is the identity map. So now we'll check the properties of S composite T. So first I am checking whether it is an identity map. So S composite T is a mapping from R4 to R4 and can be defined as S composite T of XYZ of W, and XYZW is S composite T of XYZW is equal to S of T of XYZW. We know T is mapping to its 3 tuples, so this is equal to S of XYZ. So this is mapped to equal to XYZ0. So this implies that S composite T is not the identity map. So now we'll check 1 So I'm taking let XYZW1 not equal to XYZW2. Then we have to get S composite T XYZW1 not equal to S composite T XYZW2, but we are getting S composite T of XYZW1 is equal to XYZ0 is equal to S composite T of XYZW2. Therefore S composite T is not 1 function. So now we'll check whether it is an onto or not. But for XYZ1 there is no pre-image such that S composite T of XYZW is equal to XYZ1, because all the images are of the form this. So therefore S composite T is also not onto. So now we'll check the correct options. So the correct options is S composite T is neither 1 nor onto. That is the 4th one. Next question, question 30. Let V be the inner product space consisting of linear polynomials P from closed interval 0, 1 to R. That is, V consists of polynomials P of the form P of x is equal to ax plus b such that a be element of R with the inner product PQ is equal to integral 0 to 1 P of x Q of x dx for PQ in V. An orthonormal basis of V is. So we are given an inner product space and the inner product is defined by this equation. Then we have to find its orthonormal basis. So we look into the concepts used. UI is an orthonormal basis of an vector space if norm UI square is equal to inner product UI uj is equal to 1 for I is equal to j, and inner product UI uj equal to 0 for I not equal to j. So we'll move on to the question. So they are given inner product PQ is equal to integral 0 to 1 P of x Q of x dx for PQ element of 1. That is it. Now we'll check the options. So if we take the inner product with the same element, it should get 1, and if we take inner product with another the element, we should get 0. So we'll check that. First option 1 comma x. So I'm taking inner product with the same element. So inner product 1 comma 1 is equal to integral 0 to 1 into 1 dx. So that is equal to x within the limit 0 to 1, that is equal to 1. So for the vector 1 we are getting inner product is equal to 1. For vector x we'll check. So inner product x comma x is equal to integral 0 to 1 x dot x dx, that is equal to integral 0 to 1 x square dx, that is equal to x cube by 3 within the limit 0 to 1. So after applying I am getting that is equal to 1 by 3 not equal to 1. So for vector x we are not getting the inner product itself equal to 0. So it is not an orthonormal basis. So I'm checking the third option. Set 1 to x minus 1 into root 3. For 1 I already checked here, so I am not writing it again. So we'll check it for the second vector. So now we'll check the inner product with itself. So inner product 2x minus 1 root 3 comma 2x minus 1 root 3, that is equal to integral 0 to 1 2x minus 1 root 3 the whole square, that is equal to 3 into integral 0 to 1 2x minus 1 whole square dx. So integral of 2x minus 1 whole square is equal to 2x minus 1 whole cube divided by 2 into 3. Already here 3 comes, so I am writing that also. So when we apply the limits and simplify, we are getting the value 1. So now we will check for inner product with these two elements. So this is equal to inner product 1 comma 2x minus 1 into root 3, that is equal to integral 0 to 1 2x minus 1 into root 3. Root 3 is a constant, so I am taking it outside. So this is equal to root 3 into integral 0 to 1 2x minus 1 into dx. So this is equal to root 3 into 2x minus 1 whole square divided by 2 into 2 within the limits 0 to 1. So when we apply limits and simplify, we are getting the value 0. That is inner product with the other element, we are getting 0. So this is an orthonormal basis for our vector space. Similarly, you guys can check for the second and fourth option. It is not gonna be a orthonormal basis. So our correct option is third one. Next question, question 32. Let a, b, c be the positive real numbers such that b square plus c square less than a less than 1. Consider the 3 cross 3 matrix. A is equal to 1 b c, b a 0, c 0 1. So we are given a 3 cross 3 matrix here, and those elements satisfies these properties. Then we have to check which of the following option is correct. So we look into the concepts used. Minors of diagonal elements are called principal minors, and I will be denoting it as PM in this question. If all PMs are greater than 0, the matrix is positive definite. That is, all the eigenvalues will be positive. If all PMs are less than 0, then the matrix is negative definite. That is, all the eigenvalues will be negative. If some of them are less than and some of them are greater than, then we'll get a mix of positive and negative eigenvalues. So now consider the 3 by 3 matrix. PMs of order 1 are essentially the diagonal elements, say A11, A22, A33. And PMs of order 2 are, so eliminate the first column, first row, and find the determinant of A22, A23, A32, A33. For this, second row and the second column, so determinant of that, determinant of A11, A13, A31, A33. Third row, third column is eliminated and find the determinant A11, A12, A21, A22. Principal minors of order 3 are the determinant of the given matrix. So now we'll move on to the question. So they are given the matrix here. So principal minors of order 1 are the diagonal elements. So 1, A, 1. So 1 is positive. So we'll check whether A is positive or negative. So we know A, B, C are positive real numbers such that B square plus C square less than A less than 1. So we have A is positive and A is less than 1. So we'll get A belongs to 0 when essentially A is a positive number. So we got principal minors of order 1 is greater than 0. Now we'll check for principal minors of order 2. So eliminate first row and first column, take its determinant. Determinant A0, 0, 1. That is equal to A. We already showed that A is a positive number. Now second row, second column is eliminated and find the determinant. Determinant 1, C, Z1. That is equal to 1 minus C square. So we'll check whether 1 minus C square is greater than 0 or less than 0. So we'll get from this inequality B square plus C square less than 1. So this implies B square is less than 1 minus C square. So that is 1 minus C square is greater than B square. And we know B square is always positive. That is 1 minus C square is greater than positive quantity. Therefore 1 minus C square is essentially a positive number. So third one is like third row and third column is eliminated and find the determinant. So 1B, BA, that is equal to A minus B square. So similarly from this inequality I am getting A minus B square greater than C square, and C square is positive. Therefore A minus B square is also positive. So we got all principal minors of order 2 is positive. Now we will check for principal minors of order 3. So take the determinant of the whole matrix, that is equal to a minus b square minus ac square. So we will check whether this is positive or negative. So a minus b square minus ac square. So we know a minus b square is greater than c square. So this implies this is greater than c square minus a c square. So I'll take c square common from this equation. So this is equal to c square into 1 minus a. But we got a belongs to 0, 1. So this is a positive number. This is also again a positive number. Therefore the whole a minus b square minus ac square is positive number. So we got all the principal minors as positive, that is greater than 0. So the matrix is positive definite, that is all the eigenvalues are positive. So now we'll check the correct options. So the correct option is second one. Next question, question 45. The system of equations x plus y plus z equal to 1, 2x plus 3y minus z equal to 5, x plus 2y minus k z equal to 4, where k belongs to R, has an infinite number of solution 4. We have to find for which value of k the system has an infinite number of solution. So we look in the concepts used. The system Ax equal to b, where a is the coefficient matrix, x is the variable matrix and b is the constant matrix, has a solution if rank of a is equal to rank of a is to b, and the solution is unique if rank of a is equal to the number of variables, essentially the number of columns of a, and infinite number of solution if rank of a is less than the number of variables, and the system has no solution if rank of a is not equal to rank of a is to b, and if rank of a is less than the order of the matrix if and only if determinant of a is equal to 0. So now we'll move on to the question. So they have given the system, so we have to find the value of k for which the system has infinite number of solution. We know the system has infinite number of solution means the rank of the coefficient matrix A should be less than the number of variables, which is equal to the number of columns equal to 3. That is, rank is less than the order of the matrix. So this implies the determinant should be equal to 0. So equate the determinant of the coefficient matrix to 0 and find the value of k. So once we find the value, we are getting the value of k to be 2. So now we'll check the correct option. So the correct option is third one. Next question, question 70. Let n be an integer n greater than or equal to 3, and let u1, u2, etc. up to un be n linearly independent elements in a vector space over R. Set u0 equal to 0 and un plus 1 is equal to u1. Define vi is equal to ui plus 1 and wi is equal to ui minus 1 plus ui for I is equal to 1, 2, etc. up to n. Then so they have given ui's to be an linearly independent elements, and they have defined vi and wi. We have to check which of the option is correct. So we look into the concepts used. u1, u2, etc. up to un is linearly independent if sigma I is equal to 1 to n, ai ui equal to 0 if and only if ai equal to 0 for all I equal to 1 to etc. up to n. Determinant not equal to 0 if and only if the set is linearly independent. Determinant equal to 0 if and only if it is linearly independent. So now we'll move on to the question. So given u1, u2, etc. up to un are linearly independent, and u0 equal to 0 and un plus 1 is equal to 1. Also given vi is equal to ui plus 1. Note that we have to check the linearly independent condition for n is equal to 210 and n is equal to 211. 210 means it's an even integer, so check it for a smaller even integer and generalize it for this number. And n is equal to 211 is an odd integer, so check it for a smaller odd integer and generalize it for this number. So that is what I am doing here. So for 2 not 10 I am taking, let n is equal to 4 because 4 is smaller even integer. So v1 is equal to, substitute in this, u1 plus u2, v2 is equal to u2 plus u3, v3 is equal to u3 plus u4, v4 is equal to u4 plus u5, and u5 is u1 because un plus 1 is equal to u1. So this is equal to u4 plus u1. So consider a1 v1 plus a2 v2 plus a3 v3 plus a4 v4 equal to 0. So now substitute v1 v2 v3 v4. So we'll get this equation. So rearrange so that we'll get equations in terms of ui's. So this implies a1 plus a4 into u1 plus a1 plus a2 into u2 plus a2 plus a3 into u3 plus a3 plus a4 into u4 equal to 0. Since ui's are linearly independent, their linearly combination is gonna imply their coefficients to be 0. So a1 plus a4 is equal to 0, a1 plus a2 equal to 0, a2 plus a3 equal to 0, a3 plus a4 equal to 0. So we have 4 system of equations. So write its matrix form. So that will give 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 0 0 1 1 0 0 0 1 0. Find its determinant. So we are getting the determinant equal to 0. So the set v1 v2 v3 v4 is linearly dependent. That is, for n is equal to 4 we are getting vi's to be linearly dependent. So for n is equal to 210 the vi's are linearly dependent. So now we'll check for n is equal to 3 for an odd condition. So v1 is equal to u1 plus u2, v2 is equal to u2 plus u3, v3 equal to u3 plus u4, and u4 is u1 because un plus 1 is equal to u1. So that is equal to u3 plus u1. So now consider a1 v1 plus a2 v2 plus a3 v3 equal to 0. As before what we did, we are going to do the same method. So substitute v1, rearrange so that we'll get it as a linear combination of ui's. Since ui's are linearly dependent, their coefficients are going to be 0. So we'll get this 3 system of equations. So form its matrix form and find its determinant. So when we find its determinant is going to be, when you find the determinant is non-zero, therefore the vi's are linearly independent for n is equal to 3. That is, for n being an odd number, the vi's are linearly independent. That is, for n is equal to 2 not 11, the vi's are linearly independent. So now we'll check for wi. So similarly take for n is equal to 4. So w1 is equal to u0 plus u1, and u0 we are setting it as 0. So that is equal to u1. w2 is equal to u1 plus u2, w3 is equal to u2 plus u3, w4 is equal to u3 plus u4. Now consider a1 w1 plus a2 w2, a3 w3 plus a4 w4 equal to 0. Substitute wi's in this and rearrange them to write it as a linear combination of ui's. So when we know ui's are linearly independent, so these linear combination equal to 0 implies their coefficient is equal to 0. So we'll get this equation. So we got a4 equal to 0. So this implies a3 equal to 0. This implies a2 equal to 0. This implies a1 equal to 0. That is, ai equal to 0 for all I equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. That is, w is linearly independent for even condition. Similarly, check it for n being odd condition. I am taking n equal to 3, and same procedure you will get ai equal to 0 for all i's. So wi is linearly independent for odd number also. So now we'll check the correct option. So the correct options are 2, 3 and 4. Next question, question 71. Let V and W be the finite dimensional vector space over R, and let T1 from V to V and T2 from W to W be linear transformation whose minimal polynomials are given by f1 of x equal to x cube plus x square plus x plus 1 and f2 of x is equal to x power 4 minus x square minus 2. Let T from V plus W to V plus W be the linear transformation defined by T of VW is equal to T1 of V comma T2 of W for VW in V plus W, and let f of x be the polynomial of t. Then so they have given two linear transformation and its corresponding minimal polynomials, and they have defined a new transformation over its direct sum. Then we have to find the degree of the its minimal polynomial and also the nullity of the transformation. So now we'll look into the concepts used. T1 from W1 to W2 is a linear transformation and its minimal polynomial is f1 of x, and T2 from W to W2 is a linear transformation and its minimal polynomial is f2 of x. Then T from W1 plus W2 to W1 plus W2 defined by T of W1 comma W2 is equal to T1 of W1 comma T2 of W2 has minimal polynomial f of x equal to LCM of minimal polynomial of T1 comma minimal polynomial of T2, that is equal to LCM of f1 of x, f2 of x. Lambda is the root of minimal polynomial if and only if lambda is an eigenvalue. Determinant is equal to product of eigenvalues. T from U to V be a linear transformation, then kernel of T is equal to set of all U in U such that T of U is equal to identity in V, and dimension of kernel T is called the nullity of T. So now we'll move on to the question. So given linear transformations, T1 whose minimal polynomial is f1 of x is equal to x cube plus x square plus x plus 1. T2 from W to W minimal polynomial is f2 of x equal to x power 4 minus x square minus 2. Then the minimal polynomial over T is given by the LCM of f1 of x comma f2 of x. First of all, I am simplifying f1 of x and f2 of x. f1 of x equal to x cube plus x square plus x plus 1. I am taking x square common, and from the first two term, that is equal to x square into x plus 1 into x plus 1. So from both these term, x plus 1 is common, so this is equal to x plus 1 into x square plus 1, and f2 of x equal to x power 4 minus x square minus 2. So this is like a product of the roots is minus 2 and sum of the root is minus 1. So this can be written as x square minus 2 into x square plus 1. Therefore, the minimal polynomial of T f of x is equal to LCM of f1 of x comma f2 of x equal to LCM of x plus 1 into x square plus 1 comma x square minus 2 into x square plus 1, that is equal to x square plus 1 into x square minus 2 into x plus 1. So we need the degree of f of x. So degree of f of x means the sum of the highest powers of x. So 2 plus 2 plus 1, that is equal to 5. And we got f1 of x is equal to x plus 1 into x square plus 1, and f2 of x is equal to x square minus 2 and x square plus 1. These are minimal polynomials, and the roots of minimal polynomials are eigenvalues. So we got here eigenvalues are non-zero, and the determinant is equal to product of eigenvalues. So eigenvalues are non-zero, therefore determinant is non-zero for both of them. That is determinant of T1 not equal to 0 and determinant of T2 not equal to 0. Now consider kernel of T is equal to set of all VW in V plus W such that T of W VW is equal to 0. That is T1 of V comma T2 of W is equal to 0. That is T1 of V should be 0 and T2 of W should be 0. We know we got determinant of T not equal to 0 and determinant of T2 not equal to 0. Therefore, this is satisfied only for the vector 0. That is kernel T is equal to set of all 0, 0. So dimension of kernel T is equal to the nullity of T, that is equal to 0. So now we'll check the correct options. So the correct options are 2 and 4. Next question, question 72. Let A, B, C, D in R and let T from R square to R square be the linear transformation defined by T of xy is equal to ax plus by cx plus dy for xy in R square. Let S from C to C be the corresponding map defined by S of x plus iy is equal to ax plus by plus I cx plus dy for xy in R. Then so they have given a linear transformation and a map is defined by S. We have to check whether S is C linear. So what we have to check is S of Z1 plus Z2 is equal to S of Z1 plus S of Z2 for all Z1 Z2 in Z. And also we have to check S of alpha Z is equal to alpha S of Z for all alpha in Z and Z in Z. So now we'll check that. So they are given S of x plus iy is equal to ax plus by plus I into cx plus dy. Let z1 z2 element of C, then z1 can be written as x1 plus iy1, z2 is equal to x2 plus iy2. So we have to check whether S of z1 plus z2 is equal to S of z1 plus S of z2. So we'll check that. So now consider S of z1 plus z2. So z1 plus z2 means x1 plus x2 plus I into y1 plus y2. So this is equal to S of this. So we know S of x plus iy is defined by this. So substitute that. So this is equal to A into x1 plus x2 plus B into y1 plus y2 plus I into C into x1 plus x2 plus D into y1 plus y2. So now rearrange the terms so that we'll get x1 and y1 terms in the first two terms and x2 y2 terms in the next two terms. So this is equal to ax1 plus by1 plus I into cx1 plus dy1 plus ax2 plus by2 plus I cx2 plus dy2. So if we look this is the function S of z1. So replace that by z1. So this is like S of z2. So this is equal to S of z1 plus S of z2. Therefore S of z1 plus z2 is equal to S of z1 plus S of z2. So now we'll check whether S of alpha z is equal to alpha into S of z. So let alpha z element of C, then alpha can be written as u plus iv and z is equal to x plus iv. So alpha z means this is equal to u plus iv into x plus iv. So when we simplify, we are getting this is equal to ux minus vy plus I into uy plus vx. So now we'll find S of alpha z, substitute alpha z. So this is equal to S of this. So we know S of x plus iy is equal to ax plus by plus I into cx plus dy. Do that. So this is equal to a into ux minus vy plus b into uy plus vx plus I into c of ux minus vy plus d into uy plus vx. So now write A terms first, then B terms, then C terms, then D terms. So this is equal to AUX minus AVY plus BUY plus BVX plus ICUX minus ICY plus IDUY plus IDVX. So keep that terms there. So now find alpha S of Z. S of x plus iy is ax plus by plus ic of cx plus dy. Substitute that. So this is equal to u plus iv into ax plus by plus I into cx plus dy. So when we multiply and simplify, we are getting this is equal to AUX plus IAVX plus BUI plus IBVY plus ICUX minus CVX plus IDUY minus DVY. So when we substitute B is equal to minus C and D is equal to A, then only S of alpha Z is equal to alpha S of Z. That is S of alpha Z is equal to alpha S of Z if and only if B is equal to minus C and D is equal to A. That is S is C linear if and only if B is equal to minus C and D is equal to A. So now we'll check the correct options. So the correct options are 2 and 3. Next question, question 73. Let A is equal to Aij be an n cross n matrix and let A star denote the conjugate transpose of A. Which of the following are necessarily true? So we are given a general n cross n matrix. We have to find which of the following options are true. So we'll look how to do this question. So I'm taking a general n cross n matrix like this. So A star means take the transpose, then take its conjugate. So it will look like this. So we are in need of the trace of A star A, that is the sum of diagonal elements of A star A, that is the sum of elements A11 plus A22 plus A33 plus etc. up to ANN. The element A11 in A star A is by multiplying the first row of A star by the first column of A, and A22 means second row of A star with second column of A. ANN means the nth row of A star with nth column of A. So when we do, we are getting trace of A star A is equal to x1 conjugate x1 plus y1 conjugate y1 plus etc. up to z1 conjugate z1 plus x2 conjugate x2 plus y2 conjugate y2 plus etc. up to z2 conjugate z2 etc. up to xn conjugate xn plus y1 conjugate yn plus etc. up to zn conjugate zn. We know z into z conjugate is equal to mod z square. So using that, we'll get this is equal to mod x1 square plus mod y1 square plus etc. So once we substitute that and rearrange it, we'll get this is equal to mod x1 square plus mod x2 square plus etc. up to mod xn square plus mod y1 square plus mod y2 square plus etc. up to mod yn square plus etc. up to mod z1 square plus mod z2 square plus mod zn square. So now we'll check the options one by one. So first option is, if A is invertible, then trace of A star A is not equal to 0. So here I am doing it for n is equal to 2 and generalizing it for n cross n. So let A is equal to x1 x2 y1 y2. So if determinant A is non-zero, then sum of the entries of A is going to be non-zero. So let me take x1 as non-zero and y2 as non-zero. So also we get A star is equal to this matrix and A star A is going to be this matrix. So trace of A star A means sum of its diagonal elements, that is equal to mod x1 square plus mod y1 square plus mod x2 square plus mod y2 square. Since I have taken x1 and y1 as non-zero, this is essentially gonna be non-zero. So the option 1 is correct. So option 2, if trace of A star A is non-zero, then A is invertible. So we'll check that. So suppose I take A is equal to this matrix, A star is also going to be this matrix, also A star A is also that matrix. So trace of A star is equal to 1, so it is non-zero. So we should get A to be invertible if this option is correct. But we got determinant A is equal to 0, that is A is not invertible. So this option is not always correct. So now we'll check the correct option 3. If mod of trace of A star A is less than n square, then mod A ij is less than 1 for some ij. So I suppose I take this is not happening. That is mod Aij is greater than 1 for all ij. Then trace of A star A, we got it as this. So I can replace each element greater than 1. So that is greater than 1 plus etc. up to 1. We have n entries and n rows. So that is equal to n into n. That is equal to n square. That is trace of A star A is greater than n square. Contradiction to this statement. So we found that trace of A star A is given by this formula. So this is equal to 0 if and only if each entry is in A is 0. That is if and only if A is 0 matrix. So now we'll check the correct options. So the correct options are 1, 3 and 4. Next question, question 75. Let A and B be n cross n real matrices such that AB is equal to BA is equal to 0 and A plus B is invertible. Which of the following are always true? So we are given two matrices which satisfies these two conditions. Then we have to check which of the option is correct. So we'll look into the concepts used. Rank of A is equal to 0 if and only if A is equal to 0 matrix. Rank of A is equal to n if and only if determinant A is non-zero. Rank of A plus B is less than or equal to rank of A plus rank of B. Rank of A plus rank of B minus n is less than or equal to rank of AB. Rank nullity theorem states that number of columns is equal to rank of A plus nullity of A. Determinant of A power k is equal to determinant of A power k where k belongs to n. A power k is invertible if and only if A is invertible. So we'll look how to do this question. So they are given AB into AB is equal to BA is equal to 0 and A plus B is invertible. So we'll check the options one by one. So first option is asking whether rank of A is equal to rank of B. So if I take A is equal to I and B is equal to 0, it is satisfying these two conditions. But we get rank of A is not equal to rank of A. Rank of A is not equal to rank of B. So the option 1 is not always correct. Second option is asking whether rank of A plus rank of B is n. So we'll check that. If AB is equal to 0, then rank of AB is equal to 0. A plus B is invertible implies determinant A plus B is non-zero. Therefore, rank of A plus B is equal to n. And we know that rank of A plus B is less than or equal to rank of A plus rank of B. We got rank of A plus B equal to n. So replace this by n. So this implies n less than or equal to rank of A plus rank of B. So keep it like that. We also have rank of A plus rank of B minus n less than or equal to rank of AB. We got rank of AB is equal to 0. Substitute that. So we'll get rank of A plus rank of B minus n less than or equal to 0. So taking n to that side, we get rank of A plus rank of B less than or equal to n. So we got n less than or equal to rank of A plus rank of B less than or equal to n. That is rank of A plus rank of B is equal to n. So second option is correct. So by rank nullity theorem, we'll get n is equal to rank of A plus nullity of A, and also n is equal to rank of B plus nullity of B. When we add these two equations, we are gonna get nullity of A plus nullity of B is equal to 2n minus rank of A plus B, and we got rank of A plus rank of B is equal to n. So substituting that, we'll get this is equal to 2n minus n, that is nullity of A plus nullity of B is equal to n. So option 3 is also correct. Fourth option is asking whether A minus B is invertible. So now note that A minus B whole square is equal to A square plus B square minus 2AB. We have AB is equal to 0. So even if we replace by this by plus 2AB, it is not gonna change. So this is equal to A square plus B square plus 2AB. This is the expansion of A plus B, the whole square. So now take the determinant on both sides. So determinant A minus B square is equal to determinant A plus B square. We know this can be replaced by determinant A minus B square equal to determinant A plus B square. And we know A plus B is invertible. So A plus B square is also invertible. Therefore, the determinant of A plus B square is also non-zero. Therefore, we got determinant A minus B square is non-zero. That is, determinant A minus B is non-zero. Therefore, A minus B is invertible. So option 4 is also correct. So now we'll check the correct options. So the correct options are 2, 3, 4. Next question, question 77. Let A be a 5 cross 5 skew symmetric matrix with entries in R. B be the 5 cross 5 symmetric matrix whose ijth entry is the binomial coefficient ij for 1 less than or equal to ij less than or equal to 5. Consider the 10 cross 10 matrix given in block forms by C is equal to A plus B, 0, B, then. So we are given a skew symmetric matrix and a symmetric matrix which satisfy some conditions. We have to find which of the following conditions is satisfied by C. So we look into the concepts used. For skew symmetric matrix, diagonal elements are 0. For odd order skew symmetric matrix, the determinant is always 0. Trace is the sum of diagonal elements. So now we'll move on to the question. So A is a 5 cross 5 skew symmetric matrix. So it is of odd order. So determinant is gonna be 0 and all the diagonal elements are 0. So given B is a 5 cross 5 symmetric matrix whose ijth entry is the binomial coefficient ij. So diagonal entries are of the form II and we have the binomial coefficient for diagonal entries as II. So that is equal to 1. And we know determinant C means equal to determinant of A into B. So we'll get determinant of C is equal to determinant of A into determinant of B. We got determinant A is equal to 0. Therefore, determinant C is gonna be 0. Trace of C means sum of its diagonal elements, that is equal to trace of A plus trace of B. So all the diagonal entries of A are 0. All the diagonal entries of B is 1. So this is equal to 0 5 times and 1 5 times. So this is equal to 5. So now we'll check the correct option. So the correct option is 2 and 4. Next question, question 73. Suppose A is a 3 cross 3 symmetric matrix such that xy1 A xy1 equal to xy minus 1. Let P be the number of positive eigenvalues of A and Q is equal to rank of A minus P, then. So A is a metric which satisfies its quadratic form and P is the number of positive eigenvalues of A and Q satisfies this equation. Then we have to find the value of P and Q. So we will look into the concepts used. If Q is equal to X transpose AX is equal to sigma I equal to 1 to N, sigma J equal to 1 to N, Aij Xi Xj, then A is equal to matrix formed by Aij, where Aij is the coefficient of Xi Xj and X is equal to X1, X2, etc. up to Xn. Rank is the number of non-zero linearly independent rows. For n cross n matrix, characteristic polynomial is given by lambda power n minus s1 lambda power n minus 1 plus etc. up to minus 1 whole power n Sn, where Sk is the sum of principal minor of orders k. Essentially, S1 is equal to trace of the matrix and Sn is equal to determinant of the matrix. And the roots of the characteristic polynomial are the eigenvalues. So now we'll move on to the question. So they are given the quadratic form here xy minus 1. So A is equal to, first element is the coefficient of x square. Second element is the coefficient of half of xy. This is coefficient of x. This is half of coefficient of yx, coefficient of y square, coefficient of y, coefficient of x, coefficient of y, coefficient of 1. So when we substitute that, we'll get 0, 1 by 2, 0, 1 by 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, minus 1. So here there are 3 linearly independent non-zero rows. So rank of A is equal to 3. So to find the eigenvalues, I am splitting it as block matrix. This is one block and this is another block, and finding its eigenvalue. For this block, the eigenvalue is minus 1. For this block, I am finding it using the characteristic polynomial. So characteristic polynomial of this block is given by is equal to lambda square minus lambda into trace of this, trace is 0, so lambda square minus 0 plus determinant is minus 1 by 4. So this is equal to lambda square minus 1 by 4. So this can be split into lambda minus 1 by 2 into lambda plus 1 by 2. So we know roots of characteristic polynomial are eigenvalues. So we get eigenvalues of this block as plus or minus 1 by 2. Therefore, eigenvalues of A are minus 1 and plus or minus 1 by 2. So we have P is equal to the number of positive eigenvalues of A. Therefore, P is equal to 1. And Q is rank of A minus P. So Q is equal to 3 minus 1, that is equal to 2. So now we'll check the correct options. So the correct options are 1 and 3.